hope that my story could provide some sense of encouragement to those who may need it. I was raised mostly in Cleveland, Ohio, in a conservative Jewish family. My father and my mother were always very active in the synagogue. My sisters both bat mitzvahed, one of them on the Masada in Israel, and me, it just didn't take. I was always in trouble. I never was able to concentrate. I didn't know what that was at the time. ADD was just becoming a thing, and I was always getting into mischief, and my family was mystified as to what was happening. I got kicked out of Hebrew school when I was a boy for fighting. I was causing trouble in synagogue. I was causing trouble in school. And eventually I was kicked out of Hebrew school, of day school, public school, suspended, eventually expulsion. And my parents, not knowing what to do, they tried to send me away to boarding school, which also didn't work because I was getting in loads of trouble there. So my childhood was spent in and out of treatment centers, institutions, boarding schools, hospitals, juvenile detention centers, and nothing worked. My parents tried to get me to attend synagogue, attend services. I couldn't. I was a troublemaker. I was attracted to it. I didn't know why. I didn't know why I did the things I did. I know that my mother tried her best to help me. I know that my father tried his best. I know that I terrorized my sisters. I know that I have nobody to blame but myself. I come from a good family. I don't have any reason to do the things that I did, but I always found myself in trouble. I always found myself being a bad person and not knowing why. Drugs and alcohol started for me at a young age, and they escalated. They just kept on escalating, from marijuana to cocaine, from cocaine to PCP, from PCP, to harder stuff, which I'll get into. In 2002, when I was just past my 18th birthday, I, along with a few other men, committed an armed robbery and a home invasion outside of Chicago. I was sentenced to 10 years in prison. It was heartbreaking for my family. They were at their wits' end. They didn't know what to do. I wasn't doing anything for myself at that time that was productive. I got in trouble in the county jail. I was arrested while I was in jail for getting into fights. I couldn't get along with other people. My father was able to find a job in California, and my family moved. And I stayed in Illinois, went to prison with a public defender because my parents were just not willing to help me at that time. They didn't give up on me, but they weren't willing to put any more money into trying to save me. I was disconnected from my Jewishness. I didn't think that Jews wanted anything to do with me, and really, I wouldn't expect them to. Not the type of guy I was. So I went to prison. And I flourished in prison. Some people don't take to jail. Some people don't take to prison. Some people don't take to being incarcerated. For me, I was used to it. I spent the majority of my teenage years in and out of institutions, in and out of schools, away from my family, away from my house. I didn't expect anything otherwise, and it wasn't. I made friends. I got into trouble. Drank wine, believe it or not. Did drugs every once in a while. And got into a lot of fights. My prison experience was far worse than it needed to be. I was always in trouble. I was always going to solitary confinement. Out of the 8.5 years total that I spent in prison, I spent over 5 in disciplinary segregation for continuously getting into trouble. But I have one memory of that time that really sticks out to me, and that's 2002 in Shawnee Correctional Center, when I was in a strip cell for misbehaving, fighting, getting into trouble, and what that means is all my belongings were taken out of the cell, and I was stripped down. They moved me to a hospital, and I'd become suicidal. Somebody knocked on the door, and I think I had a security blanket, which means a thick blanket that you can't tie to hurt yourself. So I, in my security blanket, walk to the window, and I see a Orthodox rabbi. Didn't know who he was. He introduced himself as Ben Yomen Shimon, who went on to become one of my dear friends. And I consider Rabbi Shimon to be one of the biggest mensches that I know. And the rabbi introduced himself, and he told me that he visits all Jewish inmates that are incarcerated in Illinois. And I found that kind of hard to believe, considering how many prisons there are. But come to find out, he does. His life's mission is to bring Judaism and the Torah and our Jewish roots back to us. Now, at that time, I wasn't ready to take that in. I met him, I said hello, and we talked. He tried to counsel me a bit, and he went about his way, and I went about mine. And the rest of my time in prison was spent in and out of fights and trouble and misery. But one thing that always stuck out is that the rabbi, rain, sleet, or snow, always came to see me. Every Passover, I always had food. I always had grape juice. I always had matzah. He always encouraged me to get closer to my Jewish roots. He always encouraged me to read the Chumash and to study and to he gave me a siddur and he prayed with me. A funny memory of those times is when I was in Menard Correctional Center in 2004, behind bars. And I became so disconnected from my Jewishness that I didn't even know what was what. And so the rabbi was teaching me how to don tefillin, and we were doing it together. And when that was going on, I asked him, am I being bar mitzvahed? Because I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really don tefillin as a child in the conservative synagogue. I wasn't used to that. And the rabbi said, well, yes, it is a bar mitzvah. And he was making one of his jokes, one of his Rabbi Shimon jokes that everybody knows and grows to love, his personality and his humor. And so that was our relationship. And so I eventually got out of segregation, and I attended some small get-togethers and occasional services with the other Jewish inmates when the rabbi would come. And it always just brightened my day. It always uplifted me. And anyways, I eventually got out, of course. Lost, not expecting to do anything with my life. And that's exactly what happened. I got into trouble, and I ended up going right back to prison. I was out for a few months. I went to go get a job as a personal trainer. I thought, hey, maybe I could be a personal trainer. Maybe I could do something positive. I'm kind of fit. I enjoyed working out in prison. Maybe I could teach other people how to work out. And I really believed it. I really thought that I was going to be able to do something. And the rabbi reached out to me when I got out, and I kind of stayed away from him because I didn't want to bring my negativity onto him, because I tried to get a regular job at first, and they looked at my application and they denied me. And it was heartbreaking. It really hurt me, and I gave up on myself. So I didn't want to talk to the rabbi. I didn't want to bring myself to see him. I didn't think there was anything that could be done for me. And I ended up hanging out with the wrong people. I got back involved with gangs. I got back involved with drugs. I got back involved with crime. And I ended up going back to prison for another 3 years. And I got out, and it was more the same. And I thought to myself, this is going to be my life. I'm going to be in and out of prison. Maybe I'll get myself killed. I'm going to be a low-life gang member, drug addict, somebody who my family is afraid of, somebody that is a disappointment. I really thought that was going to be me. And I embraced it. So during that second time in prison, Rabbi Shimon visited me quite a bit. And small things started to change. I started paying attention to what he was saying. I started really looking forward to his visits. And when I got out, I can't say things went right into the right direction, because I did get back into drugs. I did get back, into the gangs. I did get back into the trouble. Thankfully, I stayed out of jail. My best friend died in 2011 of a drug overdose, and I was right behind him. I overdosed 3 times on heroin. I was literally flatlined in the hospital. My friend was told when he brought me to the hospital, completely unconscious, that he shouldn't have high hopes for me being resuscitated, because not many people my coloring have been able to come back. But they did get me. They did get me back. They did bring me back. And that was a turning point for me. I was able to get off of drugs, stay away from the alcohol. I started making more frequent visits to the Chabad in Des Plaines, helping the rabbi when he was packaging macaroons, keeping in contact, going to services every so often at the Chabad, and staying connected. And that was important to me, because through it all, I'm a Jew. And that's important to me. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I had always been athletic, so I started boxing. And most people were telling me, you're too old to box. You can't become a professional boxer now. But I tried. I had 18 amateur boxing fights. They called me the Russian Concussion because my family is from Russia, extended family. And so I took that name and I put a Star David on my trunks, and I turned professional. I like to think of myself as a throwback to the Jews in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s that were fighters, that were boxers. There was world champions at that time. I did my studying and I saw the history of the Jewish people back in those times. The tough Jews that fought for what they wanted, what they believed in, and I wanted to be one of those guys. So I loved it. I had a relatively short boxing career. I had 13 fights. I fought in Boston. I fought in Philadelphia. I fought in Indiana. I fought in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay. And I was always proud when I walked into the ring with my Star David on Horowitz across my trunks. I won more than I lost. I took quite a few punches. I relied on a granite chin, which didn't always hold up, and a hard right hand. I wasn't the greatest fighter, but I was tough, and I was proud, and I had pride. But eventually I knew boxing would run its course, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And thankfully I was introduced to the world of television through my boxing promoter. And essentially what happened is I got an opportunity to double an actor in a scene in a TV show in Chicago, and I couldn't believe that this was something that I could actually do for a living. But I pursued it. I learned how to do stunts. And as a stunt person, I'm the guy that gets killed on film. I'm the guy that gets shot on film. I'm the guy that is the double for the actor, doing his dirty work and getting paid for it. And I loved it. I found that I was doing things on camera that I had done in real life, but nobody knew it but me. Oh, go run up and you're going to run up and you're going to shoot this guy. Well, I loved it. Now, I never shot anybody in real life, but I certainly was about to. I certainly was in that lifestyle. I certainly knew what it took to do these type of things, and so I flourished at stunts. It's a hard job to get. It's a harder job to stay in because it's very difficult to get work. But I was able to do it. I met my wife. She's also an actor. She's also Jewish. And together we decided that we were going to come to Los Angeles. It was a big move. A lot of people don't make it because it's very hard to get work out here. It's very hard to have a career in Los Angeles as a working actor, as a working performer. But we had confidence that we would. So 2.5 years ago we came out, and I did build a career out here. And over the last 2 years, I've worked on over 25 different television shows, movies, commercials. As a guy that does quite a bit of fighting, I specialize in fighting on TV. And it's something that I took from prison, then the boxing ring, and now I do it as make-believe, and I make a living doing it. Through stunts, I started writing some of my own experiences. I wrote a play about drugs, about abuse in Chicago. And I got the play produced in Los Angeles earlier this year before COVID-19. It was a very proud moment in my life. So I went from a degenerate to a prisoner to a drug addict to a boxer to a stuntman to a playwright. And now I find myself writing more and more and more, and that is the path that I have taken in my career to become a screenwriter. And so I say all this because none of this could have been possible if I hadn't changed my life. I don't know what would have happened if I never met the rabbi. I don't think things would have turned out quite the same. He's an extraordinary individual. He's somebody that has helped me so much. He's always stayed connected with me. He's never given up on me. And he never gives up on any Jew. And the Hindu Institute is so important for the work that they do because Rabbi Shimon is single-handedly kept Jews connected for over 30 years. 40 years! It's amazing. So Rabbi, thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. I hope that my short, abridged story of my life has helped in some way inspire people. I continue to do the things that I love. I hope that once we get past this virus and we're able to get together again, that more work can be done.